Hi everyone, it's Christine, your lovable, huggable muse, and welcome to the Vortex. We're bringing you our uploads from our downloads, everyone. And today, you guys, we're going to be discussing a topic that I'm really looking forward to, which is the 12 stages of the hero's journey. And that was an idea that was coined in from Joseph Campbell, who's a writer of one of my favorite books, The Power of Myth. And you guys, I'm going to kind of skip a little bit from the very beginning of the 12 steps to the part about test allies and enemies, which is basically where Dorothy starts to learn who she can and can't trust, and basically who's going to be challenges in her life, as long as finding out all these different tests and obstacles that she's going to have to go through. So that's why the title today, you guys, is Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my, because it kind of gives you an idea of who and what she's going to be running into in her own hero's journey. So just to give you guys a little bit of feedback, if you guys aren't quite sure about, if you've never heard of The Wizard of Oz, it's basically this story about this farm girl who gets swept up into this tornado and ends up in this magical land called the Land of Oz. And this is such a really amazing story in terms of alignment, and if you guys believe in that at all, or the law of attraction, or when you think about going past the veil, everyone, because in the actual movie itself, it was written and made sometime in the early 1900s, and at that time videos and movies were literally made in black and white. So things like color were not even something you would see at all. And for the first movie ever to be made in black and white, this was definitely something of a new experience for everyone. And I kind of liken it to the veil dropping, because now people are experiencing something they've never known before. All of you have ever understood was these primary colors in the shades of gray. And all of a sudden, as the veil falls down, they all of a sudden are imagining and seeing all these colors that they've never seen before. And it's not because these colors never existed, everyone. They were always there. It's just at the time they didn't have the technology or the knowledge or the know-how to be able to perceive them. And that's pretty much what Wizard of Oz really was, and what was really great for, really well known for, was the fact that it was one of the very first movies in color. So if you guys have a chance to check it out, definitely do. And you know, so in the storyline, since we are talking about characters, you know, in her storyline, she runs into characters throughout her experience. And of course, the very first characters you ever run into in life are going to be the ones you grow up with and your family, and then maybe some of your friends that you grew up with. And in Dorothy's story, she actually ends up growing up with her aunt and her uncle, and they're one of the few characters in her storyline that are pretty prominent in it, because not only are they actually in the story, but they actually are sort of embedded in her dream reality too, which is in the Land of Oz. And we can definitely go into that a little bit more as we progress into this storyline, you guys. And so when we're talking about this technicolor and being able to unfold and go past the veil, what ends up happening to Dorothy is that in the actual movie, the way it was initially filmed in black and white in the very beginning part of it. So everything is black and white in shades of gray. And then as her house gets taken up by this humongous tornado, and she gets taken up to the storm, and she gets transmuted into the Land of Oz, all of a sudden, all the colors start to show, and that's like the veil dropping, everyone. All of a sudden, her eyes are opening, and she's experiencing something she's never experienced before. And that's sort of how the story began. And of course, that's pretty much when all the characters in her life started coming in. After the house drops, I kind of liken that to when someone who first goes through their awakening experience. It's a really confusing and rather tremendous time for someone. So, you know, you're basically in a situation and you don't know what's going on. And usually that's the situation when you first encounter maybe one of your first companions or your first mentors throughout the experience. And that's pretty much what happened, because the house ends up falling on top of this evil witch, and all you see is like these two legs with the ruby slippers, And everyone's really happy because that witch wasn't a very nice witch. So you had all these little munchkins and all the people from the land of Oz coming up to her. And then you actually meet one of her mentors that wasn't really meant to be there in her life. If anything, I think she was more likely just to be like the signpost for her, or to tell her when her journey was going to begin, and kind of give her the tools to go through it. So she was actually the witch of the north, and she was a good witch. And basically she kind of unfolds to Dorothy what her hero's journey would be. And at the time, Dorothy already kind of knew what she wanted to. I mean, she obviously knew that this was not really where she belonged. As amazing this place was, she needed to go home and go back to what she considered home. So from there, she gives her the tools that she needs. She gives her these ruby slippers, and she tells her where she needs to go, which is basically she should probably go see the wizard. And that's pretty much how her journey gets started. And that kind of brings us into some more parts of the story where more of her companions start coming in, because in everyone's hero's journey, no one's really meant to do it alone. I mean, there are times when you are going to have maybe your 40 days on the mountain, or whatever, your solitude, your time of experience, when you go off on your own and you do some self-discovery. And in the very beginning, when she does do that, she does experience a little bit of that in the story The Wizard of Oz. But then during that time, especially when things started getting a little bit more confusing and scary for her, that's when all her companions start coming in. And that's when you kind of can start seeing the changes that's happening in her journey. So that was pretty interesting. So I'm not going to pretty much go through the whole story with you, because I'm pretty sure some of you guys probably already know it. But I'm just going to kind of go over my own experiences of what my journey looked like and how it looked when the companions that were meant to be in your life started coming in. I mean, obviously we have those that we grew up with, and those that we were part of our family. I mean, those are just kind of like, our home in Kansas for Dorothy. That was where home was. But, now that Dorothy was transmuted into this new reality, those people that were in her old reality just weren't able to come with her on her journey, and she needed to find more people on their journey that were more coherent to what was going on with her and what she needed to do. So I'm going to just kind of share with you like 3 ways it starts to look when you start having those companions come into your life. And this is pretty random for me, so this is probably going to be different for everyone. Everyone's experience is different, but there are some commonalities, and I did pick some of the more common ones. So the first way, you guys, is they'll come into your life rather unexpectedly, sometimes unplanned. Sometimes you ended up going somewhere and being invited to a party or a location, or to a bar or a restaurant with a friend, and you end up meeting that person. Or just whatever the situation would be. Sometimes it's by chance. You'll meet them on the subway, or you'll meet them at the library, or just some random place, or a place you've never been before. Just the interaction is definitely going to be not a place where you were expected. But I can tell you, number 2, you guys, you are going to experience the sense of connection and resonance pretty much right off the bat. I mean, I know most people don't like the idea of saying love at first sight or whatever that is. Like, there was an instant connection. But I can tell you, that's literally what it felt like. Every person that's been on my journey that was meant to be there literally came into my life, and it was just an amazing interaction, and it just felt natural and easy. Sometimes these people had some things that resonated with them that I could resonate with, like they came from a certain place that I've been or was from, or they had the same experiences as I did, or they followed the same ideas and way of thinking that I did. So there would just be the sense of resonance, or just the sense of commonalities. And it's not always the type of commonalities you think, because number 3, you guys, some of the other ways I found that you would experience that coming together of the people that were meant to be with you on your journey, or at least be part of it, whether or not they stay for a long time, or whether or not they're just there to help you for just that one little moment. The very third one is they are going to be different. You're going to see so many different attributes in them, maybe not only in how they look, but also the different attributes that they have. I mean, especially with Dorothy's companion, she had the Tin Man, she had the Scarecrow, and she had the Lion, and they were all as different as can be. But they also had their own strengths and weaknesses, and when they all came together, they were really able to help Dorothy on her journey. Because as the story progresses, and this is one of the kind of cool things about the attributes, they really made note of it when they started to actually go to meet with the wizard, who I think was really one of the grand mentors in the whole entire story. So that's when you kind of start to understand how the attributes helped Dorothy get to where she needed to go. Because in order for her to get home, she also wanted to be able to help out her friends. I mean, they all kind of needed to be able to do something for themselves and also for each other. But in their end goals eventually would get them all to the same place. So that's one of the reasons why having these different attributes really were so helpful, because there were things in them that were really helpful for Dorothy. She either lacked or needed more of to be able to accomplish what she needed to go in her own journey, which was really just to go home. And and it was really interesting when I really wanted to delve more into the attributes, because they were so different. I mean, the Tin Man literally didn't have a heart, and he just wanted to be able to feel. The Scarecrow didn't have a brain, and he just wanted more knowledge. And the Lion, he just didn't have courage. And they all needed to be able to get those things in order for not only them to be able to finish their journey, but also to help Dorothy finish hers and go home. So it was really interesting, the dynamics of it. And of course, once they go to Oz, he gives them another journey to go to before they'll be able to even acquire what they needed. So it was just all this unfolding of just continuing to follow that yellow brick road until they finally got to their destination. And I just thought this was such an interesting topic, especially when you think about the people that you have in your lives. A lot of times there's going to be people that have both negative and positive impacts in your life. And there was a time in my life, and I really just looked at the negative and said, God, I could really have done without that. My life would have been just so much better if that was not in my life. And there are so many people that probably never even had bad experiences, or not as bad experiences as some of us have experienced. And those all are absolutely okay. Wherever you are on your journey, if you're aware of where you are and what brought you here, I commend you all. I mean, it takes so much strength and courage to just look at everywhere that you've been and just realize, wow, all these experiences, both good and bad, all had this impact on me that made me who I am today. And that's just an amazing realization. And it's even so much more amazing that we have these people that come into our lives to help us through our journey, because we're not meant to do this journey alone. Otherwise, we wouldn't be put on this earth with so many people in it. I always say that. So but it is important that we realize what that looks like, what it feels like, when some people are meant to be a challenge that needs to be overcome, or when some people are meant to be those companions on your journey. It's just good to kind of really reflect on whether who those people are to you. And so I hope that was a little bit helpful to you guys. We're definitely going to kind of expand more on this topic. There's 12 stages, so I'll break them down for you as we go along. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit more about some of the other things that I think are important in the whole Land of Oz series. I'm so happy to be able to share this with you guys. This one was a little bit exciting. I was talking to my life coach, Sarah Sendry, and we always kind of go back and forth on some ideas, and so I'm always really happy to be able to share not only her talents, but just some of our ideas when things come up. And this is definitely something I've been really excited to kind of share with everybody. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day. Love and light. Bye bye.